Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Bedford. Nick Anastas, Steve Beals with you. It's FNL Gridiron. It's presented by Beals Insurance. Week number 8 as we dive headfirst into the NHIAA football schedule. 2 regular season weeks to go, then a 4-week playoff run for the first time as we get that extra playoff round to look forward to. Jay Pinson, our friend from out east, the Seacoast Media Group, senior staff writer. He's going to join us at 6:15 to help break down the Division I landscape, particularly what's going on in D1 East. Bottom of the hour, Chad Zabolas. Nashua North is still undefeated, 6-0, going into a crosstown showdown with Bishop Girton Friday night. Coach Zabolas coming on again here tonight at 6:30. Then at 6:45, two seniors on the Bishop Girton Cardinals who will be doing battle at Stello Stadium tomorrow night, Jacob Baker and Rocco Geraci. So Jay Pinson, Chad Zabolas, Jacob Baker, Rocco Geraci in that order. A little more compact tonight, but still a hard-hitting 60-minute Steve on the way.
Yeah, I mean, at least we can maybe we could even stretch it out a little bit if things get going. I'm looking forward to talking to both those players. They were literally on fire at their respective positions on defense and offense last week. That was but you throw Matt Sanasuazo and Labby in there, and so many, and Rasmussen, so many others, and that was quite an outing for sure.
Competitive game, fun game to call for us
fun.
Here on Friday Night Lights, New Hampshire. That, of course, was Bishop Girton over Bedford back on Friday. The Bulldogs snap their 5-game win streak and fall to 5-2. Speaking of last week's action, as we take a look at the New Hampshire Union Leader Power Poll, Londonderry beat up on Alvern 49-14. Lancers still undefeated against in-state competition and overall are 6-1. I believe they're at Winnicott this weekend. Nashua North, as we mentioned, 6-0. Their latest victim, the Merrimack Tomahawks, a 49-7 victory for the Titans on the road last week. And again, they host Bishop Girton tomorrow night at 7. Speaking of BG, Cardinals still at number 3 in the poll, 6-1. They got the Bedford win 14-7. That defense led by Baker and Geraci really stepped up in the second half. And again, they're at Stello Stadium against Nashua North, technically as the visitors tomorrow night. Number 4 is Timberlane, back in D1 and still rolling. 6-1. They've now won 5 in a row. They beat up on Spalding 35-12. They'll take on a conference foe in Dover on Friday. Concord, they've continued to roll. 6-1 now, 6 straight since that opening night loss against Londonderry. Who did they beat? Salem. 48-26. Can't read my own writing. 48-26. They got a big test against Wyndham coming up this weekend. Bedford, as we talked about, 5-2. They're number 6 in the poll. They're on the road again at Keene tomorrow night. Pinkerton caught an out-of-state loss on Saturday. They lose to Brockton. That's a rivalry renewed between New Hampshire and Massachusetts. Those two schools, of course, very familiar with each other over the years. It had been a while, and Brockton wins the first round out of the gate, so to speak. 59-44, a shootout with 103 total points over the weekend. They are at Winnicott on Friday. Exeter, we saw them Friday night. And check out that game between the Blue Hawks and Dover on our YouTube channel. Exeter, I'm going to spoil the result, a winner 22-7. And that puts the Blue Hawks back on the right track, snapping a 2-game skid. They're now 5-2. They take on Spalding tomorrow night. Souhegan remains the lone Division II team in the poll. Sabres still unbeaten. Another shutout, 49-0 over Hollis Brookline. Big showdown against Pelham. Potentially a championship preview in Division II. Souhegan and Pelham live from Amherst tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Then Wyndham is once again holding down the final spot in the poll at number 10. Jaguars 5-2. A road win against a stubborn Central team, 44-25. That game had some back and forth. And again, they're catching a major test tomorrow night up in the capital at Concord. So again, the top 10 looks very similar to last week. Londonderry at 1, North at 2, BG at 3, Timberlane at 4. Number 5 is Concord, 6 Bedford, 7 Pinkerton, 8 Exeter, 9 Souhegan, and 10 is Wyndham. Other scores from Week 7. Winnicott, congratulations to the Warriors. They get their first win beating Memorial 20-13. Portsmouth, they got their fill of some red meat over the weekend, 54-0 over at Goffstown. Another win for the Clippers as they vie for a playoff spot. And then finally, South, another team that grabbed their first win, 40-28 over Keene. Any surprises there, Steve?
Well, I'm going to go through them as fast as I possibly can. This is a power poll. This time of year, you begin to look at teams with power. The Concord, 48-26. That's, I don't care what kind of season Salem's having. You score 48 points against Salem. That offense is a machine with a tandem of high level players at tight end, quarterback, and running back. You got those three things working for you. It opens up a lot of options. Concord looks very, very strong. How about Pinkerton? 44 points against the city of Brockton, Massachusetts. Boxers have been known as a powerhouse for a long time. It's clear my concern was never about the defense of Pinkerton, and it was just getting that offense rolling. If you look at the last weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, you see Pinkerton's offense coming on strong. That's an impressive showing. I heard it was a lot even closer to that other than the last 5 minutes of the game. So Pinkerton going toe-to-toe to Brockton better let everybody know in Division I that they're ready and they're ready to go. How about the Exeter win? You talk about a coach that come off 2 very difficult losses. Coach Ball and his team and his players got together, played a very talented Dover team and beat them 22-7. We were there, Nick, as you said. What can you say about that? They did everything that Exeter is all about, and they did it with precision. Very few penalties, if any. All 3 phases of the game back. Great coaches coach their tails off when they get into those situations. I give Coach Ball, his assistants, and the players from Exeter a tremendous amount of credit for that. How about Timberlane? Spalding's a good football team. No one's questioned about that. They've had a little rough spot here. They've played some tough teams. But for Timberlane to beat them 35-12, what does that tell you about Timberlane? Nothing that we didn't already know. This team is right up there where they belong on the power poll. BG over Bedford. We just talked about BG. I won't talk about that, but I think the Bulldogs probably a little angry this week. Let's be very interesting to see how they bounce back because they're a talented football team, and things just didn't go their way Friday night. They had some penalties at very difficult situations. You could tell the Coach Matthews, who's been really working hard this year to get his team to the highest seed as possible, was not happy at the end of the game. I'm sure they went right at it at the end there. And the last thing, how about Nashua North over Kip Jackson's good Merrimack football team, but how about Nashua North 49-7 over Merrimack? That is a statement on power as well. Boy, do we have a matchup tomorrow night. Yeah. BG at North.
You said it. 7 o'clock is the kick. Our coverage begins at 6:45. We're live at Stello Stadium as the Cardinals and the Titans get another good one. 6:30 is the kick. Even better. So get yourself an early supper. Settle in, and we're ready to go at 6:30 with our live coverage.
A nice night for football,
beginning at
too.
6:15. We'll be in the stands with the common folk over there at Stello Stadium. All right, coming up, Jay Pinson, senior staff writer at the Seacoast Media Group. He knows the insides and the outs of basically the entire D1 East Conference. We're going to pick his brain, as usual, next. You are watching FNL Gridiron. It's presented by Beals Insurance. Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com.
Hey, I'm Chad, the owner of New Hampshire iPhone Repair. We're New Hampshire's most trusted and affordable repair shop for your iPhone, iPad, iPod, and even Android needs. Don't worry, we're affordable, reliable, and we back our parts with a lifetime warranty. And you know what the best part is? No, what? We can repair your phone while you wait.
I know, that's why I'm here.
Oh, I know, Mrs. Green. Here's your iPad, good as new. Bring your phone into New Hampshire iPhone Repair today.
The The New Hampshire Tomahawks promote the highest level of club lacrosse competition, not just in the state, but in the country. Looking to get recruited? Director Chris Cameron keeps an open dialogue with the nation's top college lacrosse coaches. Over 400 New Hampshire Tomahawks alumni have played at the college level, including the ACC, Big East, Big Ten, Ivy, NESCAC, NE10, and more. The New Hampshire Tomahawks coaching staff has over 100 coaches, including current high school varsity and college coaches. The Tomahawks offer training for players of all ages, clinics, camps, and leagues, along with spring, summer, and fall elite teams. So play with the best. The New Hampshire Tomahawks, showcase and development for college lacrosse. Visit NewHampshireTomahawks.com and girls.nhtomahawks.com. How can you reach your team's fundraising goals at no risk and no cost? MG Sports offers a variety of products to make your team's fundraiser a success. Their products include tickets and discount cards to hundreds of local businesses. MG Sports now has a digital platform where athletes can raise funds in the comfort and safety of their own home. Don't waste another season. Raise more funds than ever before and become another football program in New Hampshire that sets fundraising records every season. MG Sports, fundraising made easy. Visit mgsportsfundraising.com to start raising money for your team today. Back here in the Beals Insurance Studios in Bedford. Nick Anastas, Steve Beals with you. It's FNL Gridiron presented by Beals Insurance. We're live every Thursday night at 6 o'clock Eastern. Coming up, Chad Zabolas in about 15 minutes or so, the Nashua North head coach. Titans putting their unbeaten record on the line on this channel. Tomorrow night live at 6:30 when the Titans host the Bishop Girton Cardinals. And speaking of BG, a couple of their senior heavyweights are going to join us. Jacob Baker, Rocco Gerasi. Gerasi, two members of both the O-line and the D-line, are going to join us to give us a bird's eye view from the trench, so to speak. But right now, Jay Pinson of the Seacoast Media Group joins us once again from his home. Jay, how are you tonight? Thanks for coming on.
Always a pleasure to come on. Thank you. You know, it's getting late in the season when it gets dark there in the background.
Yeah.
Behind you guys.
Yeah, that's right. That's when the ground game comes alive.
I've had about 5 or 6 questions about the gentleman. Why is a UPS truck and a guy with a UPS uniform always behind you? Just to let you folks know out there in YouTube FNLNH land, it's because our studio is right next to a UPS store.
Right.
And it just so happens at 6 o'clock on time every week. So for those parents and others who are wondering, that's why you see him. And that gentleman out there that you see, the UPS guy, Nick, he's a Dolphins fan. So he and IJ go at it all the time about the condition of the Dolphins. I always won the battle before because the Dolphins were terrible, but now they're very highly competitive and it can get a little, you know how it is. Love your hat, by the way.
Jay, where do you want to start tonight when we talk about the Seacoast? Obviously, some of that parity beginning to stratify. Is that Steve's word there? Starting to get some ideas on who's who in Division I East. So who in your mind is at the top of the poll? We know about Timberlane at 6-1, Exeter right behind them at 5-2. Who's trending in the right direction? Who's maybe taking a step back the last couple of weeks in Division I East?
I think if you look at the entire 16 division there, Timberlane is clearly number one. Exeter is right behind them at number 2, and then I think there's decent amount of drop-off there between Exeter and the other three, Portsmouth, Spalding, and Dover. I think the East, once all things are done, the East will have 5 teams in the playoffs, which will be a high, with Central and West each getting 4. But I think, to answer your question, Timberlane would have to get the nod as the number 1 with their win over Exeter, and then Exeter right behind them at 2, and then Portsmouth, Spalding at Dover at 3, 4, and 5. Clippers have won 3 of the 4, so they've been playing well. Spalding's dropped 3 games in a row, and Dover has lost 2 in a row and 3 of their last 4. Dover has a tough schedule. Their final 2 games of the regular season with Timberlane and Nashua North. Spalding has a difficult remaining 2 with Exeter and Winnicott. And Portsmouth has a tough final 2 games as well. They have Oxford Hills, which is undefeated in Class A Maine, the highest division in Maine. And then they end the regular season at Timberlane. And Exeter has Spalding and Memorial left on the schedule. So I think they're going to win out. And I think Timberlane's going to win out with remaining games against Dover and Portsmouth Oyster River. And then we'll see how the seedings come out. But to answer your question, Timberlane number 1.
Portsmouth, 54-0 over Goffstown. That team seemingly starting to come alive. Steve had his eye on them.
I did.
Way back in the summer. A little bit of a slow start in the first few weeks of the season for Coach Pafford's club, but it seems like, no pun intended, that ship is starting to steer in the right direction. What's been the difference the last couple of weeks with the Portsmouth Clippers?
Good. You got I like that.
I did like that too. I use that a lot in the paper as well. The Clippers and the sailing and all that good stuff. What's really helped Portsmouth is Aiden Thomas at quarterback the last couple of weeks. He threw for 2 touchdowns last week. He ran for another 2 in a 54-0 win at Goffstown. Gunnar Jackson ran for 89 yards and had a touchdown. Angus Moss had 2 touchdowns, including a 90-yard kickoff return. So they got a lot of people playing well right now for the Clipper Cats. And as I said, they've won 3 of the last 4, but I wouldn't be surprised if that starts to go in the other direction. Started tomorrow with the game against a very good Maine team in Oxford Hills, and then finishing with Timberlane. But Portsmouth, you got to play the games on your schedule. They've won 3 out of 4 and kind of solidified their spot in the 13-team tournament. And they're playing well. Let's see if that can continue tomorrow night against Oxford Hills, and we'll go from there.
Jay, it seemed like it wasn't if, it was just a matter of when that Portsmouth would be able to get that offensive unit functioning where you started having the chemistry between the players. At the beginning of the season, I noticed the chemistry just wasn't there on offense. Seemed to be, quarterback was struggling just a little bit, got injured, came back. That's always a tough thing to do, but they seem to be roaring right now. How far do you think Portsmouth, if they continue this trend, can go into the playoffs? What do you think their high ceiling potential is?
I think it all depends on where they fall in the seedings. If they can match up with the good spot there in the pairings, I can see them winning 1 game and moving on to the second round. I think winning 2 games would be a stretch and advancing to the third round, but I definitely see, depending on where they fall in the final standings here in the next 2 weeks, if they can get a favorable draw, they can. I wouldn't be surprised if they can go out there and win a game and advance to the second round. And then if you get to the second round and you're with 6 teams left, 7 teams left, then we'll see what happens. But I wouldn't be surprised if they can win a game and move on.
Yeah, that turnaround, I have a lot of respect for Coach Pafford. We all do here at FNLNH. He's a straight-up guy, tells you exactly what he thinks. It doesn't surprise me that with his fortitude and his staff's fortitude that they were able to bring things back. I expected nothing less. Speaking of expecting nothing less, one of the things you look at for a football team is after they lose 2 games, Exeter goes down to Timberlane and right down to the wire, right the seconds. We were there. What a terrific game to watch, no matter what team you were for or not. Then they go to Bedford, and they drop one in Bedford, tough place to play. Caught Bedford playing top of their game as far as I'm concerned, and Bedford had a great game plan. Coach Ball comes out of the game down, dropping 2 games. That doesn't happen very often for the Exeter Blue Hawks. You could sense when we went to the game and throughout the week when we talked to him on Gridiron last week that he was all business. They must have had themselves a heck of a practice because that football team looked solid as a rock. And I started looking at Dover. We talked about this before, Jay, when you were on. Dover's got a lot of talent in a lot of areas, and I think that Coach Ball beat a good football team there the other night, and 22-7. But it was the game inside the game, Jay. If you saw it, there was very little, if any, penalties at all. All 3 phases of the game playing with precision. And to me, it was that discipline and that lack of penalties and mistake-free and assignment football that created a 22-7 deal with Dover. Where is Exeter right now, in your opinion, as it relates? If you were going to rate them, where would you rate them in this mix of so many good teams in Division I?
I think they have to excuse me.
Potential?
I think you'd have to definitely rank them in the top 5. Then maybe even 4. And I can't remember the last time a Bill Ball team lost 3 games in a row, and he made sure that they came out last week and put forth a good effort against Dover. Evan Pafford said that was their best week of practice the entire season, and I knew that it was a sense of urgency for the Blue Hawks, and they didn't want to extend that 2-game losing streak to 3. And not surprised at all that Exeter went in there and as you said, went into Dunaway Field and beat a good Dover team. And Dover had 2 shutouts at home, their first 2 games of their home games this season. But not surprised at all that Exeter came out and won that game 22-7 at Dover against a very good Green Wave team.
Let's talk about Evan Pafford for a second. I've been very high on Evan all year long. You could see those intangibles almost in every football game that he played, in a great relationship you can tell that he has with the head coach. But his play on Dover, I don't know if you saw any film of that game, his play that night was just terrific. Whether it was rolling out, his handoffs, I mean, there were times when cameras and 3/4 of the people in the stands, and I have to admit, even a broadcaster a couple of times had no idea where that ball was going because of the efficiency and technical proficiency of his handoffs and the way he sells the fake afterwards. This guy, if you're a college looking for a player with a lot of potential, my thoughts are that he's one of the guys in New Hampshire you look at. Your thoughts on this man as he's developed throughout the year?
I think it all goes back to his 5th grade teacher. My wife had Evan My wife had Evan in 5th grade, and she knew then that he was a good, smart kid, and he's had a great season this year for the Blue Hawks, and he fits that quarterback style that Bill Ball always looks for. The guys, the mobile quarterbacks, the hard-hitting quarterbacks, the quarterbacks who aren't afraid to get hit and to lay out a hit, and he said, as you said, he sells that fake very well, and he's just a dynamic a quarterback, and not only does he bring it on the offensive side of the ball, he plays as well on defense for the Blue Hawks. And you don't see many quarterbacks go both ways in Division I these days. But Pafford plays equally well on defense as he does on offense. And
good point.
I would not be surprised if Evan Pafford can lead those Blue Hawks to a deep run in the Division I tournament coming up here, and that starts off in 2 weeks.
Real quickly, I want to hand it back to Nick, but who are we missing, or who is conventional wisdom missing out there in Division I that people are underrating, where their ceiling is much higher than the general thought patterns out there are? Name a team in your mind that you're watching kind of
as a dark horse.
As a dark horse. Thank you, Nick.
Dark horse. I would say even though I'll stay with the Blue Hawks. They played Timberlane tough. They lost by 4 points. They played Bedford tough, and they lost by 10. But I would not be surprised. As I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Exeter made a run here. I don't know if you consider a Bill Ball team a dark horse, but they don't have they're not getting the accolades this year as Londonderry and BG and Nashua North, and So in that sense, you may consider Exeter a dark horse, that they aren't labeled as a favorite to win it all this season. I think Londonderry and North would be the two favorites right now that are gonna win it or have the best chance to win it. But to answer your question, I think Exeter could be a dark horse in this upcoming Division I tournament from the teams that I've seen. I think Bishop Girton is the best team that I've seen so far, but I'm going to see the best team probably tomorrow when Londonderry visits Winnicott in Hampton for in a rematch of last year's Division I championship game.
Yeah, good point.
Jay, where are you tomorrow night? I think you just answered that, right? You're going to be at Londonderry, Winnicott?
Yes, I will be there. It's senior night for the Warriors, and I have my oldest son plays for Winnicott, and he's a senior, so I'll be part of the senior night, the festivities tomorrow night. And I was texting Coach Lozon this morning just to have him take it easy on the Warriors tomorrow night, and he's expected nothing but a battle. He gave high praise to the Warriors, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
but I will be in Hampton.
Nick, I want to cause some quick trouble, if I may.
Quick.
Real quick.
Yep.
Zappy or Jones?
Right now, I would say with the Monday night game, I would start Zappy on Monday night and give the ball to Mac Jones against the Jets the following week, because I don't know if you want to give Mac Jones a Monday game and then come back on a short week.
He's
and
always
go
thinking
against the Jets, and so I'm going to go Zappy Monday, Jones on Sunday.
I never would have thought that you would. I would have thought you would have been Zappy all the way. Very cerebral thought, by the way. I like that.
Yeah. Well
Thanks, Joe.
explained.
Jay.
He's played well.
Yeah, he has.
Jay, tell your son congratulations.
Yes.
Enjoy yourself tomorrow night, part of that senior night festivity, and we appreciate it and look forward to talking to you again down the road.
Okay, sir. Thank you much for having me on. I always appreciate it.
Same here, Jay. Thanks.
Again, Jay Pinson,
right on it,
of the Seacoast Media Group.
Right on it, all the time. It's great to have a person that is looking at the whole Seacoast area. He has helped me, Nick, when you bring these great guests on. He's helped me understand some of the history because he kind of fits that in at times, gives you a sense of the rivalries and stuff.
Right.
And since then, as I get more educated, the more enjoyment that I get watching those East Coast teams, the East, really fell in love with a lot of teams.
And he made, I think, a pretty good point. That may be the deepest of the three conferences
he just
in
nailed
Division
it.
I.
He just nailed it. 5
and may
teams.
have the most playoff teams amongst the 13-team field. We're going to find out all that and then some 2 weeks from now when the preliminary round takes place. And I'll tell you what, a spot in the quarterfinals this year is going to be well-earned.
Well-earned.
For those 8 teams.
Yeah, high school football's back in New Hampshire big time.
Absolutely. All right. Another reminder before we go to break, Friday night, tomorrow night, we're at Stello Stadium again in Nashua for BG and North, number 2 and number 3. In the New Hampshire Union Leader Power Poll, North undefeated, BG at 6-1. Our coverage begins at 6:15 with the kickoff coming at 6:30. On the other side of the break, we speak with Titan head coach Chad Zabolas. What's been the key for the first-year head coach's success? We'll find out next. You're watching FNL Gridiron. It's presented by Beals Insurance. Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com.
Hey, I'm Chad, the owner of New Hampshire iPhone Repair. We're New Hampshire's most trusted and affordable repair shop for your iPhone, iPad, iPod, and even Android needs. Don't worry, we're affordable, reliable, and we back our parts with a lifetime warranty. And you know what the best part is? No, what? We can repair your phone while you wait.
I know, that's why I'm here.
Oh, I know, Mrs. Green. Here's your iPad, good as new. Bring your phone into New Hampshire iPhone Repair today.
The New Hampshire Tomahawks promote the highest level of club lacrosse competition, not just in the state, but in the country. Looking to get recruited? Director Chris Cameron keeps an open dialogue with the nation's top college lacrosse coaches. Over 400 New Hampshire Tomahawks alumni have played at the college level, including the ACC, Big East, Big Ten, Ivy, NESCAC, NE10, and more. New Hampshire Tomahawks coaching staff has over 100 coaches, including current high school, varsity, and college coaches. The Tomahawks offer training for players of all ages, clinics, camps, and leagues, along with spring, summer, and fall elite teams. So play with the best. The New Hampshire Tomahawks, showcase and development for college lacrosse. Visit NewHampshireTomahawks.com and girls.nhtomahawks.com. How can you reach your team's fundraising goals at no risk and no cost? MG Sports offers a variety of products to make your team's fundraiser a success. Their products include tickets and discount cards to hundreds of local businesses. MG Sports now has a digital platform where athletes can raise funds in the comfort and safety of their own home. Don't waste another season. Raise more funds than ever before and become another football program in New Hampshire that sets fundraising records every season. MG Sports, fundraising made easy. Visit mgsportsfundraising.com to start raising money for your team today. Back here on FNL Gridiron. It's presented by Beals Insurance. Nick Anastas with Steve Beals here from the Beals Insurance Studios in Bedford. Got Jacob Baker and Rocco Geraci coming up from Bishop Girton, a couple of seniors joining us in about 15 minutes or so. We just spoke with Jay Pinson of the Seacoast Media Group. Joining us now in advance of the Nashua North Bishop Girton Showdown tomorrow night here on Friday Night Lights, New Hampshire, is first-year Titans head coach Chad Zabolas back on the show. Coach, good evening. Thanks for coming on. How are you?
How you guys doing? I'm doing all right.
Good, Chad.
We appreciate it. We talked on the eve of the season on this show, and here we are now 7 or 8 weeks later. Your team is still undefeated. Had one game canceled, a perfect 6-0 record, number 2 in the New Hampshire Union Leader Power Poll. Has this team met or exceeded your expectations through now 7 weeks?
At this point, we as coaches, we go into preseason and we kind of look at our schedule and we kind of determine where we think we'll be at. And right now, I say we exceeded where we thought we would be. We obviously knew we had some really good skill football players that we have. We needed some work up front. But, yeah, I think we've exceeded where we are, and the kids have really bought into kind of what we believe in. And, they bought in, and we stayed healthy, which is a big thing. And the kids have come to play each week, and we've done really well so far. It's been a good year so far.
Has there been an area that's jumped out maybe as a pleasant surprise that has kind of fueled the success in your mind through 7 weeks?
Yeah, it's not a surprise. We knew we have the skilled kids that we had, with Derek and Amari and, Jordan and those guys. We knew we would have the skilled players, and we knew our defense will be, a really fast defense, which has really helped us out. But that part of the game has not surprised us. Up front has surprised us. We have a couple, 3 kids that are new on the offensive line. We got 3 kids that are new on the defensive line, that haven't started a varsity game before, and these kids have stepped up. So the biggest surprise is up front. The kids have, are starting to gel a bit, which is good.
How would you grade you and your staff in year number one? We know about the big shoes to fill with Coach Lorendi stepping aside during the offseason. You obviously have been part of the program the last several years. You were with Coach at Merrimack before that. You've been around the block, but not as a head coach. Here you are 6-0 through your first 6 games on the sideline. How would you grade yourself and your staff through this undefeated beginning to the season?
There's always improvement, that you need to make, and that's with the kids and with your staff. But, Coach Tave, who's our defensive coordinator, he's a guy that when I took the job, I was not going to take the job without him. He's a unbelievable defensive coordinator. He was at Alvern for a long time. He coaches a lot of basketball. He was a assistant BG girls basketball, and he is a guy who just sits there and watches film all day. He's prepared. He has game plans for the kids, and defensively, if I don't have him, we're in a little bit of trouble. So, he was the first guy I really need to really bring on, and obviously, you've seen our defense so far, and Coach Tave has really brought guys up, and those kids believe in what he does, and it really allows us to play where we want to be. Offensive football is a lot easier when you have a defense that you can count on. So he's been great so far. Zach Harris as our offensive coordinator, we're starting to really get at that point where we're starting to change the offense a little bit, where we're starting to add on to what we do. Our power game is going to look a little different now. We can add on to the stuff. The kids are starting to understand what we do and buy into what we do. So Coach Harris has done an outstanding job with that. So, the guys that we have and we've always had along with us, are just doing outstanding. And us being together for so long, it's been pretty easy transition for us, with Coach Loretti keeping this staff together. And really the transition was me going to head coach, and, we pretty much have everybody together anyway. So, the change hasn't been much since, for the past 8 years, which is.
Coach, thanks for coming on, as always, and obviously congratulations on a fantastic. I can't wait to see the team with my own eyes. I've watched film. Obviously, we were at the first game. I've tried to grab what I could, but a lot of it is highlight films, and it's not something you can break down over a 2-hour period. I'm really looking forward to it. I just going to say that North has shown the model of transitioning from one coach to another head coach in an organization. I applaud you. I said this before to you. Look at where you guys are right now. I think you kind of answered the next question I have, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. When I look on the sidelines, the chemistry between the players that I see, the leadership that I see with the players with some of the younger guys, talk to us a little bit about that, because believe me, Coach, it stands out. What's going on to create that? My guess is it's the same kind of chemistry that's going on with all you and your assistant coaches. But have at it. Let's. What is it that makes this team's chemistry so strong?
And the
you
big
agree,
thing
right?
is
you agree, right? It's very obvious.
Yeah,
yep.
I completely agree. You still got me on my freezing.
You're in and out, Coach. There you go.
There you go.
You're good now.
You're good. You're good now.
Let me.
Well, we got Coach tinkering, looks like, with the camera on his end. We're going to try and get a better connection, I think, here. We'll check back in with Coach in a minute. But some good stuff in the first few answers there about the coaching staff.
Yep.
It is basically still intact with Coach Zabolas taking over for Coach Lorendi at the top.
Yeah, I think what it speaks very. You got him,
Coach? Are you there?
Am I back?
You are, Coach. Go ahead. Tell us a little bit about that chemistry amongst the players.
Yeah, and the biggest thing was character. We were a little nervous with our junior year kids, and we had some immature issues and things like that. And the kids have really bought in to what we've been talking about. And the biggest thing is focus and making sure that they realize that everybody is part of the team. And from the scout team kids, from kids who are injured, who are getting water for kids, and from managers to trainers to all that stuff, and everything is important. And that's kind of how we really, lean towards this. And you can see it on the sidelines. The kids really buy in.
That's what I noticed.
Yeah, and we get into the second half, and a couple of our games here where we've kind of had our JV kids in, and you got to talk to your kids. A lot of times you see starters who tend off and go look at the fans and go talk to their parents, and you got to really talk to these kids about, hey, this team now is playing the game. The JV kids are playing. Let's go ahead and cheer those guys on and stay focused at all times. And I think the kids have really bought into that, and they understand the importance of scout team players and just everything. We have kids who are seniors that are pure special team kids, and they have bought into their roles, which is great. A lot of times you'll have a senior where hey, I'm not starting, I'm not really part of this, but I've have seniors now that are really bought into that special team role, which is huge. So I think the chemistry of the kids, they get along. I think they're at that family, almost like they're brothers, and you start hearing some bickering at practice and stuff like that. Then you realize how close these kids are, which is a good thing.
BG, tomorrow night, we're going to be there. We can't wait. It's going to be a beautiful night for football. In Stello, of course, in September, October, find a more beautiful place to be. I don't know if we've lost those beautiful wine-colored shrubs, but boy, I'll tell you, last week when we were there, it was quite a venue. I expect a big crowd. Talk to me a little bit about Coach Trisciani and his squad. I'm sure you saw some film where, if you were not there last week, maybe you were. We saw a few coaches scouting. What did you think of that showing, and what do you have to do against this BG team to come out with a win?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like sometimes you watch too much film, and the amount of film, and the more and more I watch these guys, it's really hard to find a weak link on the football team. Yeah. Even with the amount of injuries they've had and the kids that are sitting out, they have these kids that are jumping in and filling in, and they're not missing a beat. Right. They're a very, very talented football team. They're big, strong, fast. They're physical. They don't make many mistakes. They're a really, really tough team. And I think we're going to have our hands full, especially up front. They play a 3-3 stack defensively, and they are just man-childs, with those 6 guys up front. It's going to be tough to run the ball on the inside, and, we hope we can cover these guys up and try to gain some yards here and there, on the inside of the game that we can. The trenches are going to be tough. I'm going to tell you that right now, because they are big, strong, and fast.
Yeah, both teams are. Yeah. Both teams' trenches have played exemplary, and it just continually comes in high school football is to a great degree about the trenches, giving the offense as many opportunities to get on the field as possible. Congratulations so far on a fantastic year, a transition that's a role model for anybody to look at. If I was going to ever be a head coach, I would pick the brains of you and Coach Larendia how to get that done, because a lot of it is based on selfless attitudes about making sure that the program is more important than any individual. So congratulations, Coach, and we're ready, right, Nick? We're ready for a big one tomorrow. Absolutely. Back to you, Nick.
Coach, thank you.
It's going to be. I'm excited.
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Coach. Thank you. Good luck as well. We appreciate the time. And again, Chad Zabolas, first-year head coach with the Nashua North Titans.
Hard to believe.
Got them humming along at 6-0. And again, that kick comes your way right here live on Friday Night Lights, New Hampshire at 6:30. Our coverage begins at 6:15.
I was just going to say, Nick, no wonder why this guy is so trench conscious. He loves all of his football players, but he takes those roles that don't traditionally get a lot of the front page news, so to speak, and he takes them very serious. You can tell he's got that trenches mentality as a head coach, and he was talking about, geez, it's amazing to him how strong and how quickly some of those younger players and have just come on the line the first time and they're doing so well. Well, you take a look at that attitude and the attention that those kids get in this football team, and it's no wonder why they progress so quickly.
I think he used the word man-child.
Man-child.
When describing Jacob Baker and Rocco Geraci. They are on the
That's
other
a
side.
fair representation.
Two of the trenchmen for Bishop Girton. Next, you're watching FNL Gridiron. It's presented by Beals Insurance. Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com.
Hey, I'm Chad, the owner of New Hampshire iPhone Repair. We're New Hampshire's most trusted and affordable repair shop for your iPhone, iPad, iPod, and even Android needs. Don't worry, we're affordable, reliable, and we back our parts with a lifetime warranty. And you know what the best part is? No, what? We can repair your phone while you wait.
I know, that's why I'm here.
Oh, I know, Mrs. Green. Here's your iPad, good as new. Bring your phone into New Hampshire iPhone Repair today.
The New Hampshire Tomahawks promote the highest level of club lacrosse competition, not just in the state, but in the country. Looking to get recruited? Director Chris Cameron keeps an open dialogue with the nation's top college lacrosse coaches. Over 400 New Hampshire Tomahawks alumni have played at the college level, including the ACC, Big East, Big Ten, Ivy, NESCAC, NE10, and more. The New Hampshire Tomahawks coaching staff has over 100 coaches, including current high school varsity and college coaches. The Tomahawks offer training for players of all ages, clinics, camps, and leagues, along with spring, summer, and fall elite teams. So play with the best. The New Hampshire Tomahawks, showcase and development for college lacrosse. Visit NewHampshireTomahawks.com and girls.nhtomahawks.com. How can you reach your team's fundraising goals at no risk and no cost? MG Sports offers a variety of products to make your team's fundraiser a success. Their products include tickets and discount cards to hundreds of local businesses. MG Sports now has a digital platform where athletes can raise funds in the comfort and safety of their own home. Don't waste another season. Raise more funds than ever before and become another football program in New Hampshire that sets fundraising records every season. MG Sports, fundraising made easy. Visit MGSportsFundraising.com to start raising money for your team today. Final segment here of FNL Gridiron, presented by Beals Insurance. Nick and Astis, Steve Beals with you from the Beals Insurance Studios in Bedford. We're live, of course, every Thursday night at 6. If you miss any part of the show, don't worry. The broadcasts are archived up on our YouTube channel, FNLNH Media. Again, Friday Night Lights New Hampshire on YouTube, at FNLNH Media. Just check out the videos section. We spoke with Jay Pinson, gave us some good stuff from Seacoast Media Group, and of course Chad Zabolas, we just spoke with, the Nashua North head coach. Joining us now is Jacob Baker and Rocco Geraci, two of the Bishop Girton seniors. The Cardinals are taking on Nashua North in a huge game with some potential playoff implications tomorrow night here on Friday Night Lights, New Hampshire. There they are, fellas. Good evening. Thanks for coming on. How are you tonight?
Thank you for having us. We're amazing tonight.
We appreciate you guys coming on. Obviously, it's been one heck of a season so far, 6-1. You guys have had some extended media coverage really all summer with Joe Marshallina's nh-highschoolsports.com doing the season on you guys. Gives us in the media a little bit of an insight on what's going on behind closed doors. So far, has this senior season shaped up the way you thought it would be?
I really think so. I'm having a lot of fun. Our team's really showing out. What do you think?
I think, yes. I mean, especially since our freshman year, we kind of knew that this group was going to stay together, and we hoped it would. And so far, it's really showing out of what our expectations had been.
Has that been big, Rocco, the fact that you're familiar with your teammates, you played for years together? You think that shows up on the field?
I think for sure. The chemistry, especially with just the line, like ourselves, you know, like I knew AJ Rasmussen. I went to school with him before I came to BG. I knew Zach from like playing against him in sports from youth. So like just knowing the people before even coming there and then eventually playing 4 years with them is definitely a big part of it.
I imagine you agree with that, Jacob?
Yeah, like to Rocco's point, I played youth football all my life with Matt Sanasuaso, Carter Accomando, and Chase Amaral. So they're childhood friends of mine, and everyone else is. They were really welcoming when I came in, and they're all family.
How have you seen the program grow in your 4 years at Bishop Girton? Obviously, it's all been under the guidance of Coach John Trisciani Jr. I'm sure you guys like playing for him. But how have you seen the program really grow since day one, your freshman year?
You know, you kind of, when you're coming in as a freshman, you kind of just see like the outside, you know, you don't really know what's going on, but you kind of have a sense. So then once you start getting more involved, you know, getting closer with the coaches and getting to know kind of just everyone in the staff, you know, that's definitely part of like seeing the growth and then seeing how like the coaches develop and how other players that you didn't even know could be like, you know, as vital as they are to the team as they are now. So that was that.
Guys, congratulations on. Oh, go ahead, Jacob. Jacob, go ahead.
What I was going to say is our team's been through a lot of struggles, losing a lot of coaches, gaining a lot of coaches, and even players too, which our team has done very great on kind of developing and kind of like smooth sailing through this whole process.
Yeah. Let's go to that game last week, guys. We were up in the booth, and I saw a couple of trucks going at it pretty much on the defensive line. And no gas gun. This is all diesel stuff going on here. I saw two guys drawing 4 people. That's very difficult for a team to create. Vince Wilfork used to consistently demand a double all the time, Rocco. They were doubling you, and you were still pushing them back. Jacob, they were trying to double you. They were trying to cut you inside, and the separation techniques that you used are a high school role model as far as the film is concerned. Your lateral movement, but still staying square to the line, was terrific. And backside pursuit, believing that it was for you, every play was for you, was really there for both of you guys. Tell me, it almost like you were playing with an organized frenzy in that game, a real sense of urgency every single play and no fatigue. Was it the cool conditions, crisp conditions? Was it because it's the Bedford Bulldogs? Was it because you guys had special cereal in the morning? Whatever it was, I think you would both agree that you were playing at a level that was at the top of your games last night. The ceiling was being hit and then some. Why don't we start with you first, Rocco? What was going through your mind? You were tireless. You never come off the field and you were tireless. What? Not that you're not always great, but honestly, you were playing out of your cleats. What was going on in your head during the week in that game?
I mean, the biggest thing is, going week to week, knowing who your opponent is, and you're watching film, and you kind of just hear all the stuff going on about, if they're good, if they're not, who the players are. So going into it, I, had to play with extra fire because I knew how crucial it was for us to win the game. And then as you're just going through it, the adrenaline starts hitting, and you just start making contact, and, you just kind of get into it and just play your game.
How about you, Jacob?
I think it's all for the love of game. It's my last year ever playing football, and I'm really going to put it on the line every single game. And I agreed with everything you said. Of course, the Bedford Bulldogs, we're huge rivals with them. And the weather conditions have been getting better. That means I'm not cramping anymore. And and I'm not really getting tired anymore. So,
Yeah. Yeah, you guys play a lot of reps on both sides of the football. That's a hard thing to do.
Right.
Let's talk about some of the rushing and specifically with you, Jacob. I saw Rocco pushing out of the pocket, and then I see you sliding across backside and just catching people from behind, and then getting separation. Like I've always is good. You're always technically sound, but just really against a very, very good group of opponents. That arm length separation and then getting rid of the blocker is something. Did you work on something this week, or was it just what was it? Because it was just amazing. I said in the booth, this is not just for TV show. We were in the booth and we were just amazed at the motors that you guys were playing. Very Warren Sappy, if you know what I mean. It's just, if you remember him, I'm an old guy, so he was. What were you doing, Jacob? Was it a different technique, or was it just more horsepower?
So I think they moved me to the linebacker position. I've been playing D-line all this year.
Right.
At the linebacker position, I have a lot of space, never on a man head up, and I get a lot of room to run, and I can really find my holes and kind of depict the O-line, which really helps. And usually the kids coming up to block me are not the kids I'm lining up against on the D-line, so I can really get off of them quick and head to the ball.
Yeah. Rocco, A.J. Rasmussen, I thought he played a terrific game next to you. They were doubling you a lot. You were still trucking them back, and A.J. was in on a lot of tackles and was doing a lot of intangible things through the game. How close are you to him, and what are your thoughts on his play the other night? Because he certainly was a factor as well.
So me and AJ go way back. We've been friends and playing football together since we were probably in kindergarten, kind of like that young, we lived from the same hometown. We were just friends for a long, long time. And, always seeing him, he's definitely progressed a lot from where he was, freshman year, as far as getting onto the field and really performing. And especially with how he performed on that game, it's really good seeing, someone you've known for that long to kind of get that light and kind of get the spotlight he deserves. And I just think he's been playing amazing this year.
Let's talk about the North Titans for a sec. I go back with my two sons playing there, and I can tell you those fans really go at it back and forth. I'm sure you guys feel that intensity. Both teams are just amped and playing at the top of their game right now. Looking forward. What are your thoughts going into that game, and what are the sort of couple of things that you guys have to do to come out victorious against this excellent North team? Jacob, why don't we start with you?
It's a huge rivalry, and the main person that's kind of showing how tough and how much this game means is Charlie. These are all Charlie's friends. Charlie
Right.
this is his heart. This is his game. And it was kind of like the Bedford game. There's a couple Bedford kids on our team telling us yo, you guys got to go hard against this team. And I feel it's the same way for North, and they're really good. So I mean, all those factors, and it's the rivalry too. So it's going to be a hard and fun game.
Yep. Rocco?
Well, I also I have history with some of these North guys. I played football with Toby Brown, Nick Jajesi, Amari, Derek Finley, Jack Peters. So especially with that, as besides the fact that we're national rivals, it's an extra fuel to that flame. Wanting to go out there and be able to dominate your ex-teammates. So I mean, that definitely is a big part of it too.
Well, we were talking before I hand it back to Nick. High school football, especially I think in Division I, is just on fire right now. Teams are expanding. More and more teams are getting better. And the parity, Nick and I commented all the time with the amount of quality teams out there. Who knows what's going to happen in this tournament. I want to congratulate both of you guys because you're a big part of that for your team. The leadership you guys showed and that attitude that you showed the other night makes an old guy like me feel very good that we got some young fellas that are tough, determined, focused, and are good leaders on the field. So congratulations to both of you guys last week. We are looking forward to a barn burner. I don't know how to call that game, to be honest with you. It's going to be a battle. So thank you for all the play and the entertainment that you guys give us. Because that game last week was the kind of football game I really like. So congratulations to both of you guys. And best of luck in your futures as you move on.
Thank you.
Fellas, I'm not quite done with you yet.
I didn't think so.
I've got two more questions, one from me and one from the man behind the curtain, our director, Ben Beals. We'll start with Ben's. Excuse me. Pretty basic. What's it been like playing for not just Coach Trish Sr., or Trish Jr., but also the newest addition of the coaching staff as his father, of course, John Trisciani Sr., who, of course, coaches up the line. What has he been like to have around and to learn under?
He's amazing. He's a riot, and he makes football fun, and he makes it tough. He's making all of us great linemen and great people, too. He brings everything into the game.
I would say he's definitely added a lot to, what we have to offer. Like, for example, if we talked about AJ, I think he's really pulled the player out of AJ and, pulled him out of where he was hiding it down in his, and he's just been helping us as a lot of fundamentals even. It's just his level of coaching is just making us a lot better than we have ever been before.
Yeah. Final question. What are the plans beyond graduation? Jacob, you said this is your final year of football. I guess we'll start with you. What is the next chapter of both of your lives moving beyond Bishop Girton?
After football, hopefully winning the state championship, I'm going to continue my academic career in film, and I'm looking at schools down south. So we'll see where the future takes me.
Awesome.
I haven't completely decided, still thinking about if I want to play college ball or not, but definitely looking to go into accounting or some sort of business and kind of looking around the Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh area.
So maybe a movie director and a banker.
Yeah, but
not too bad.
It'd be nice if you guys hung around southern New Hampshire. We hate to see all you guys go.
Right.
Maybe when it comes later on, you come back. But
gentlemen, listen, best of luck, not just tomorrow night, but the rest of the way. And we certainly appreciate you spending some time with us tonight. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Again, Rocco Geraci, Jacob Baker, a couple of class acts, and a couple of all-state, I would imagine, football players.
Not even a question about it. When you look at two motors, there's a gas motor and there's a diesel motor. And the diesel motor never stops, and it keeps on pulling heavy weights, and it doesn't slow down. And I think that both of these guys are a couple of diesels. My nickname for Rocco behind the scenes is Diesel anyway. Kind of a John Riggins as a lineman, you know what I mean? Just doesn't stop. He was literally driving two very good blockers on Bedford. Bedford's got good trenches, and he was blowing those guys back. These guys were on fire. That was a lot of fun to see. I expect North to come with the same intensity, and the physicality in this game is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night.
And of course, kind of the unseen storyline in any rivalry really is the relationship amongst the players on the other team. And more often than not, from a competitor standpoint, it brings out the best, knowing that your buddy is lining up on the other side.
Yeah, and the other thing is, you really get a sense that these guys are aware. When I think of the song "The Boys of Fall," and you saw Sean Payton talking in the locker room to the guys, this is it. For most of you guys, this is it. And Jacob's going to go on into film. This is it. Boy, did he play like this is it last week.
And again, at this time of the year, every game is bigger than the last.
It is.
As we take that final pole turn, so to speak, that
we
final
were talking
three-quarter turn.
The ramifications, I think of the two games that we did last week were huge. It was extremely important if Exeter is going to play their top-end football. They had to come out with a performance like they did. You could hear
a convincing road win.
Convincing road win against a good Dover football team. They were talented.
Right.
And then we saw BG, who a lot of people thought Many people thought they were in trouble and hurt and this and that. But when you get guys, we talked about it on Gridiron last week and on keys to the game. Your middle tier players have to step up big, and they did. Labby, I meant to ask that question about Labby and his performance, and of course talk about Matt. But we talk about Matt all the time. But when you look at the performance of these two individuals, and you look at the performances I've been able to see on North, it's a really hard matchup to figure out. A lot of times these things come down to turnovers and special teams. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting first quarter to see matchups, and I'm going to be all over watching.
Be a fun chess match, too, on the sideline between two very good young head coaches and John Trisciani Jr. of
Such
BG,
likable guys, too.
and Chad Zabolas of Nashua North.
Let's take a look at that Division I group of coaches. Just week after week, exceptional. You got Frank Corica, Ryan. You got from old to young, and Jimmy Lozon,
Abraham, Hammond. I mean, even the schools that are rebuilding.
How about Memorial? What he's doing there. I mean, they struggle a little bit. They come back, but the program is growing and it's moving forward, and that's because of these guys that put in the time and the effort for sure.
They got a passion for sure.
They do.
Speaking of a passion, we're going to hit it hard tomorrow night, beginning at 6:15. We're live on the air in advance of the 6:30 kickoff between Bishop Girton and Nashua North. About as big of a regular season game as you're going to find here this season. North undefeated at 6-0, number 2 in the Union Leader Power Poll. BG right behind them at number 3, 6-1. The lone blemish, of course, a couple of weeks back at top-ranked Londonderry.
I'm was a big boxing fan back in the 70s and 80s. And I was a big fan of Marvin Hagler.
So was my father.
That's good.
Marvelous Marvin.
I feel I feel the feeling about tomorrow night. I have that feeling about whether it's Hagler Hearns, Hagler Leonard, Hagler Anifirmo, Hagler Duran. I have that feeling about two. Not to be, no pun intended, two titans going at it.
Yeah.
I remember that feeling. I used to go down to a restaurant, and he'd have the first widescreen projection TVs where the thing would be, all over the wall there.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd wait till 11 o'clock at night and have a pizza and stuff. And
then watch Marvelous Marvin.
And watch Marvelous Marvin Hagler get it done. It's going to be about tomorrow night.
I like it.
Yep.
Anytime there's a Hagler reference, we're cooking with gas.
Well, Mr. A, you and I are in common on that one. We really enjoyed him. He was a great fighter.
I want to thank our sponsors tonight, of course, for making every broadcast possible. Beals Insurance, MG Sports Fundraising, the New Hampshire Tomahawks, New Hampshire iPhone Repair, and Ghost Energy. I want to thank our guests as well, Jay Pinson from the Seacoast Media Group, Chad Zabolas, the Nashua North head coach, and, of course, the two Bishop Girton seniors, Jacob Baker and Rocco Geraci. We appreciate them. All right, Steve, your final thoughts before we say goodbye.
I think that we knew these matchups were going to come late, and I'm so thankful that these matchups, as where the seedings are positioned right now, are going to live up to the hype. And the quality of play and the turnaround and the attitude that I'm watching young men focus on football and recognize that this is the time of their lives and this means something. This is part of the developmental process of manhood and recognizing that controlled, organized, well thought out tactical violence is a very good tool when you can manage that with discipline and put that into action. I see these guys, and it just gives me that we just saw, and so many others that we've seen this year, and it makes me not only proud, it makes me feel very lucky to be part of this whole situation in Southern New Hampshire Division I football.
Right.
I love it.
The pleasure is
and
ours,
all football,
sure.
all divisions of football, really.
Yeah, some good games this weekend as well. Obviously, I think we've got the Jewel with BG and North tomorrow night at 7. But there's some other games to watch that we will be keeping an eye on, including in Division II, Souhegan and Pelham. How about Wyndham and Concord? That's got a chance to be a thriller as well. So there's a few good games tomorrow night and throughout the weekend. All right, I want to thank our director, the man behind the curtain. That's Ben Beals. He'll be back in the pilot seat tomorrow night for us. My partner, executive producer, Steve Beals. My name is Nick Anastas saying so long. This has been FNL Gridiron, presented by Beals Insurance.